new Nexon EV Max moves you to the max.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tata Crucible, the Campus Edition 2022. It's time for us to get started. Please welcome your host, Ms. Rashmi Furtado.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. This is Rashmi Furtado and here we are commencing a new season of this much awaited and magnificent quiz for the campuses of our country. Well, this quiz has actually grown a lot in its digital avatar with more than 5 million people watching this quiz on the internet. And with multiple grueling rounds that we have had, we have now come down to 24 clusters. Each of these clusters consists of 2 wildcards and 1 final. And today with us, we have all the finalists for the first wildcard of the second cluster, which is the cluster from Telangana. So let me quickly introduce our finalists to you and then get into the rules of the wildcard. Our first finalist for the day is Sanket from CBIT. Unfortunately, Sanket couldn't join us here today, but we will now move on to our second finalist for the day, Yashwant from VNR VJIT. That's Yashwant for you. Moving on, our third contestant for the day is Sandeep from EFLU Hyderabad. Sandeep for you. Up next is Hemant from CBIT Hyderabad. Following Hemant is Kiran from SIST. Unfortunately, even Kiran couldn't join us, but we move on, and completing our lineup here today is Mayank from Nalsar. All right, that's Mayank for you. Let me quickly tell you the rules of the game. 10 questions is what I have for all of you. All the 10 questions are on the buzzer. +1 if you get it right and -1 if you get it wrong. Single attempt per question only, multiple attempts are not allowed. I'll wait for about 5 seconds after every question for one of you to press the buzzer. If none of you press the buzzer in those 5 seconds, then I will move on to the next question and the previous one would be invalid. Okay? Once you press the buzzer, you have about 3 to 4 seconds to unmute yourself and give me the answer. Nothing appears on your screen, so you have to listen to what I have to say very carefully. And once you press the buzzer, you're indicating to me that you already know the answer. So I stop reading out the question. You make a choice on when you need to press the buzzer, but don't expect me to complete the question once you press the buzzer. Remember, 3 out of all of you will make it to the cluster final that's coming up. So the goal here is to qualify to the cluster final and not necessarily to win this wild card. Okay? And all the other fair play protocols are right there on your screen for you. We are very particular about our fair play protocols and we follow it very, very strictly. And also to the audience out there, the buzzer indicator light will not be appearing, but I'm here to tell you who has pressed the buzzer. All right, now it's time for us to move into our wild card. Their buzzers have been tested already, so they know how it works. Let's move on to the first wild card of the second cluster, that's the Telangana cluster. Question number 1, the buzzers are open. Good luck to all our contestants, they are ready. Question number 1, here we go. Walmart acquired which of these e-commerce companies? Your options? Oh, no options required. Yashwant, go ahead.
It's Flipkart.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Yashwant gets a +1 on that. Moving on to question number 2 of this wild card. All right, question number 2. Here we go. Who founded the Tata Group in 1868? Sandeep is on the buzzer. Go ahead, Sandeep.
That's Jamsetji Tata, J.N. Tata.
Absolutely right. Jamshedji Tata giving him a +1 on that one. All right. 2 of them are on +1 already. Third question of this wildcard. Can we clear the buzzers? All right. We are good to go. Question number 3. Which of these is not a subsidiary of Reliance Industries? Your options: Alok Industries or Bandhan Bank. Mayank, go ahead.
It's Bandhan Bank.
Absolutely right. Bandhan Bank, not a subsidiary of Reliance Industries, and that gives Mayank a +1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to move on to question number 4. Interglobe Aviation Limited owns which airline? Sandeep is on the buzzer again. Go ahead, Sandeep.
Indigo.
Absolutely right. +1 on that again to Sandeep. Indigo is absolutely right. Moving on to question number 5. Which company merged with Vodafone? Your options? Oh, no options required. Yashwant, go ahead.
Idea. It's Idea.
+1 to you. Idea Cellular is absolutely right, giving Yashwant the +1. I've completed 5 questions, and as of now, I have Yashwant on 2 points, and so is Sandeep. I also have Mayank on 1 point. Like I said, 5 questions are done. It's too soon to comment, believe me. Let's move on. Question number 6. Here we go. Which media company was founded by Subhash Chandra? Mayank on the buzzer. Go ahead, Mayank.
Yeah, it's Z.
Absolutely right. Z giving Mayank a +1, belonging to the SL group there, giving Mayank that much needed +1. He too now joins Sandeep and Yashwant on 2 points. Moving on. Question number 7. Here we go. What started in 1895 as the Engineering and Iron Trades Association to promote the interests of Indian manufacturers? Something that exists to this day in our country. Oh. All right, time is up. No one going on this one. Nobody wants to risk a negative in the wild card. Everyone wants to make it to the final. I mean, I understand them. They prepare for Tata Crucible. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, that I was looking for is CII. CII was the one that originally started as Engineering and Iron Trades Association. Not that these quizzers didn't know about CII. Some of them, I'm pretty sure, just didn't want to take the chance. Let's move on. Question number 8. Here we go. Who among these is Policy Bazaar's brand ambassador? Your options? Oh, no options required. Mayank, go ahead.
Akshay Kumar.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Akshay Kumar is the answer I was looking for. The last 2 questions of this wild card remaining. The penultimate one. Here we go. Which company owns Exide Life Insurance? Exide? All right. No one going on this one either. In the world of insurance. All right. Time is up. The answer I was looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is HDFC Life. They are the ones who own Exide Life Insurance. The last question of this wild card coming up now. Which company was founded by Vijay Shekhar Sharma? Yashwant, go ahead. Repeat your answer.
Paytm. It's Paytm.
Absolutely right. Paytm giving Yashwant another +1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've completed the first wild card of Cluster 2, which is the Telangana cluster. Let me tell you the scores and also the ones who have qualified to the cluster final. With 3 points, Yashwant from VNR VGIT has made it to the cluster final. And we have Mayank with 3 points. He belongs to Nalsar. He has also joined Yashwant along with Sandeep, who belongs to EFLU with 2 points. Sandeep has also joined Mayank and Yashwant into the cluster final. These then are your finalists who you'll see again in the cluster final. But before you move on, ladies and gentlemen, let's binge on some audience questions. The audience question for you today is, which sports personality owns the brand Tenwick? I'm going to repeat that one for you. Which sports personality owns the brand Tenwick? Wherever or whichever platform you're watching this quiz on, that does not matter. Key in your answers in the chat box. If you're quick and correct, you stand the chance to win prizes. So go ahead and try your luck. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. The second wildcard is coming up in a moment. And I'm telling you, stay tuned. It's going to be very interesting. I will see you with the second wildcard. Take care.
मिलावट का जमाना है जी। कितना पानी मिलाया जी?
पानी प्योर है जी। आपकी दवाइयाँ सर जी।
थैंक यू जी। चलो कम से कम ऐसे में कोई दवाइयों पे सच्चाई का भरोसा दे, अच्छा तो लगेगा ना जी।
पर ये तो जेन्युइन है ना जी।
बिल्कुल भरोसेमंद है जी। It's 1 mg।
Here we are starting the second wild card of the second cluster, that's the Telangana cluster. And we have our finalists here with us. Let me quickly introduce them to you and then get into the rules of the game. Our first finalist joining us is Suvigya Sharma from BITS Pilani. There he is. Following Suvigya is Krishang from Mahindra University. Up next is Sri Charan from VNR VJIET. Unfortunately, Sri Charan couldn't join us here today because of some unforeseen circumstances, but we move on with the show. Following Sri Charan is Sampath from Aurora's Technology and Research Institute. Following Sampath is Dr. Murtuza from DCMS Hyderabad. And completing our lineup here today is Jashwant from KITS Hyderabad. All right. So contestants, the rules of the game. 10 questions is what I have for you. All the questions are on the buzzers. +1 if you get it right, -1 if you get it wrong. Single attempt per question only. Multiple attempts are not allowed. I will wait for about 5 seconds for one of you to press the buzzer once I've asked a question. If none of you do so, I will move on to the next question. The previous one will be invalid. You have about 3 to 4 seconds of time once you have pressed the buzzer to unmute yourself and give me the answer. You're not allowed to press the buzzer and then take your own time to give me the answer. Remember that. Nothing appears on your screen, so you have to listen to what I have to say very carefully. So if you press the buzzer while I'm still reading out the question, you are indicating to me that you already know the answer, and hence I will stop reading the question. Do not expect me to complete the question after you have pressed the buzzer. 3 among the 5 of you here today will qualify to the cluster final. The goal here is to qualify to that cluster final. Remember that winning, losing in a wildcard doesn't really matter, or rather winning or being a runner-up does not matter. Qualifying to the cluster final is what matters. On your screen are all the fair play protocols that we strictly follow in our quizzes. So please ensure that all of them are followed. For the audience, the buzzer indicator light will not be appearing. However, I'm here to tell you who has pressed the buzzer. Let's begin the second wild card of this cluster. Question number 1 of this wild card. Here we go. Which of these is not a scooter from TVS Motors? Your options: Scooty Pep Plus or Neptune. Suvigya, go ahead.
It's Neptune.
+1 to you, absolutely right. Neptune is the answer I was looking for. Suvigya getting a +1 on that. Let's move on to question number 2. Robin Sharma wrote a fable on a monk who sold what? Dr. Murtuza on the buzzer, go ahead.
His Ferrari.
Absolutely right. +1 on that. Well, he's smiling and so am I when I'm asking this question, because this is a very, very popular book. And honestly, when I found the question slightly funny there, absolutely right though, it's a business fable. So he gets it right there and gets a +1. Let's move on to question number 3. Here we go. Sampath, please move your phone up into the camera angle. On the side is also okay. No problem. Yeah, perfect, perfect. Thanks you. Thank you. Let's move on to question number 3. Here we go. Which of these is a pillar of the Toyota production system? Your options: just in time or anyway on time. All right, I have Jashwant on the buzzer. Go ahead. You need to unmute yourself, Jashwant.
Just in time.
Absolutely right. Getting a +1 on that is Jashwant. Just in time is a production system or one of the methods of manufacturing where the items are created at the last minute after the demand has come in and it's not prepared or manufactured beforehand. Let's move on to question number 4. Here we go. Which of these is not a popular brand of the erstwhile TVS Suzuki Limited? Your options: Saiketsu or Samurai. I have Krishang on the buzzer. Go ahead, Krishang.
Saiketsu.
Absolutely right, Krishang, getting a +1 on Saiketsu. Moving on to question number 5. Which of these is a multi-purpose vehicle from Mahindra & Mahindra? Your options: Ertiga or Marazzo. Dr. Murtaza, go ahead.
Marazzo.
Absolutely right. Marazzo giving him a +1 again. Ertiga is actually a Maruti Suzuki brand that's there. So I think that was easier for him to eliminate from the options. We have completed 5 questions, ladies and gentlemen. Let me quickly tell you where our contestants stand. As of now, Dr. Murtaza is leading this wild card with 2 points. And we have Suvigya, Krishang and Jashwant all on +1 each. Moving on to question number 6. Which was the biggest e-commerce platform in revenue terms in China in 2019? All right. Suvigya on the buzzer. Go ahead, Suvigya.
Alibaba.
Absolutely right. Getting a +1 on that is Suvigya. Alibaba is what I was looking for. Question number 7 of this wild card. Here we go. Which of these is an electric vehicle from TVS Motors? Your options: Nexon or iQube. Krishang, go ahead.
Nexon.
Oh, taking a negative on that is Krishang. Nexon is from Tata Motors. Your right answer would have been iQube. All right, let's move on to question number 8. Here we go. Which of these e-commerce companies has not been acquired by Walmart? Your options are Flipkart or Zalando. Suvigya, go ahead.
It's Zalando.
Absolutely right. The German e-commerce company Zalando giving Suvigya the +1. Last 2 questions remaining, ladies and gentlemen. The penultimate question. Here we go. Who founded Apple along with Steve Jobs? Dr. Murtaza, go ahead.
This is Steve Wozniak.
Absolutely right. He gets a +1 on Steve Wozniak. The last question of this wild card coming up. Which of these is a 3-wheeler from TVS Motors? Your options: TVS Jupiter or TVS King. Krishang, go ahead.
TVS King.
TVS King giving him a +1. He's absolutely right. At the last moment, Krishang scored his +1. Ladies and gentlemen, time for us to take a look at the scores. At 3 points each, both Dr. Murtuza from Deccan College of Medical Sciences and Suvigya Sharma from BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus qualify into the cluster final here today. But we have another slot remaining in that cluster final, and we have a tiebreaker on that because we have Krishang Rao and Jashwant both on 1 point each. Krishang scored a +1 on the last question there, forcing a tiebreaker with Jashwant. These questions are only meant for Krishang and Jashwant, nobody else. So rest of you, please do not press the buzzer at all. Guys, the rules of the game are absolutely the same. The only difference is it's going to be a sudden death situation. One of you press the buzzer, you get it right, you move on to the cluster final. You get it wrong, the other person moves on to the final. Okay? Good luck to both of you. Jashwant, if you press the buzzer beforehand, you will get a -1 because I wouldn't have even asked the question. So please be very careful. Do not press the buzzer beforehand like that. Okay? Tiebreaker, question number 1. Here we go. Which company owns the car brand Jaguar? Jashwant, go ahead. Jashwant, quickly, you're taking too long. You're on mute, Jashwant.
Tata,
Give me a better answer.
Tata Motors.
Getting a +1 on that is Jashwant with Tata Motors. He now joins Dr. Murtuza and Suvigya into the cluster final. Congratulations to all three of you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we move any further, it's time for us to quickly binge on some audience questions. From Hyderabad, spreading goodness since 1953. Which bakery am I talking about? Let me repeat that one for you. From Hyderabad, spreading goodness since 1953. Which bakery am I talking about? Whichever platform you're watching this quiz on, that does not matter. Key in your answers in the chat box. If you're quick and correct, you will win a prize, and lots of interesting prizes we have this year for audience questions. Believe me on that one. So good luck to you, and I hope you really key in the right answers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the second wild card of this cluster. But don't go anywhere. The cluster final is coming up. And let me tell you, it's going to be a very interesting one. Take care.
Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Pig Brain.
A big hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today at the second cluster final of the 2022 season of Tata Crucible for campuses from across this nation. With us here today are 6 outstanding contestants who've gone through a huge rigmarole of online selections before they made it to the wild cards. And after crossing the questions that Rashmi had for them, here they are with me in the big final of their cluster. One among the 6 will win from here and move on to the national zonal levels. 24 clusters in all. We found one champion. We will find the second one from these 6. Well, before we progress and get started, let me acquaint you with the rules of the game. 75 will be the value of an answer as we celebrate 75 years of Indian independence this year. So you get it right, you get a 75. You get it wrong, you lose 75. 5 seconds of time is your window of opportunity to answer a question, and every question lapses after 5 seconds. I will be very strict on that time count, and only one attempt is allowed on the buzzer. All contestants have reconfirmed that they are battling alone from their rooms, and they will hold their buzzers when required in an eye view for us to keep a look at it. We're also monitoring them on the big screens with us individually. And of course, we reserve the right to take a decision in case we believe that someone has used probably, Google or something like that, because we do have an access to the logs. So that's just the fair play protocol. We've really not had any of those really required to play a role in the last 2 years that we've been doing digital quizzing with Tata Crucible. And it's truly overwhelming and humbling that in the last 2 years, we've had more than 5 million people, and you heard me correctly, watching Tata Crucible online. And that is a staggering number for a country, or any country for that matter, to pursue quizzing. So that really underlines and explains not just the popularity of Tata Crucible, but the popularity of quizzing in India. So that's truly humbling and wonderful. But for the moment, let me introduce the 6 contestants with us here today who made it to the final before we actually start playing this edition of Tata Crucible. As our first finalist here today, representing the VNR College from Hyderabad, is Yashwant. Welcome to you. Neighboring Yashwant as our second contestant here today from EFLU Hyderabad, with us is Sandeep. Welcome, Sandeep. As our third finalist here today, a lawyer in the making from Nalsar, Hyderabad, is Mayank. Welcome, Mayank. As we move across to Bits Pilani from the Hyderabad campus, joining us here today is Suvigya. Welcome to you. Cutting across from the engineers and the lawyers to an aspiring doctor, or a doctor already, I'm not very sure, from DCMS Hyderabad is Dr. Murtuza. Completing our lineup from KITS Hyderabad is Jashwant as our final contestant. Welcome to you, Jashwant. Those then, ladies and gentlemen, are 6 contenders here today. 75, the value of the answer. As you all perhaps know now, having watched the first episode and followed who won that first cluster, it's all about grit, guts and glory. That is the theme of this year's Tata Crucible, as we of course celebrate 75 years of Indian independence and salute some of the doyens of Indian industry in our own way, with questions as a tribute to their contribution. For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, and all of you watching this on the internet, of course, I'll come to you with separate audience questions at the end of the rounds. You're thoroughly going to enjoy that. But for the moment, we've seen the contestants. Cluster number 2, Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. Time for us to pick action to see who's got the grit. So time for us to find the grit. Here it is. 75, the value of a right answer. The questions will appear on your screen. Request all of you to hold your buzzers up. And the buzzers have been unlocked for you to start playing. If we are ready, the first question of the second cluster on your screens now. He's an extremely important man. Sai's gone for it in quick speed. Yes, Sai?
That's Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt, associated with Titan Industry.
Bhaskar Bhatt, who was associated with Titan.
Yeah.
Well, he retired as the managing director of Titan and is currently on the Tata Sons board. So absolutely well played on that, Mr. Bhaskar Bhatt. Will give you the first 75. As we move on to our second question on your screens now. From the world of wellness, health. Oh, someone's gone for it, and we've got Sandeep again. No question from me, yes?
Ever ready.
Will give you a minus 75. Well, that's the problem with these bunnies. All of them look alike sometimes. It's the Energizer Bunny, well, which was created as a challenge to the Duracell batteries. And he takes a negative on that, is Sandeep. That, of course, is a very important moment in, as we move into a safer world. Tata 1MG is one of our supporters here in this quiz. Health and wellness is so important in the modern world. And it's nice to see someone like Tata 1MG really standing up for these causes and creating huge awareness for people in the areas of health, hygiene and wellness. For the moment, of course, we move on to our next question here today. And it's the third one. Hands on the buzzer. Question on your screen now. This is a famous automobile brand. A very important one. Swedish. They've also been in aerospace and defense. Suvigya has gone for it. Yeah, Suvigya.
I'm guessing this is Saab, S-A-A-B.
Absolutely well played. 75 to him on that. While Sandeep gained and lost, Suvigya has now gained as we go on to the next question. And all hands on the buzzer. On your screen, here is the next one coming up now. It's an unlikely brand that got into the perfume business just because they have a massive fan following or a cult following. It's a huge brand. Murtuza has gone for it. Yes, Murtuza.
I'll go with Harley Davidson.
Well played, 75. The doctor, is it doctor in the making or doctor? I don't want to get it wrong.
I am a doctor.
You're
I'm
PG.
doing my
Yeah,
MBBS.
you're a PG.
I'm
Okay.
doing my PG right now in
All right.
radiology.
Then it's unfair for me to just say Murtuza. Dr. Murtuza. Fair enough. So Dr. Murtuza getting a 75 on that one. He's got that absolutely right. As we go to our next question, question number 5 in the first frontier on your screen now. Neeraj Mohit Murtuza has gone for it. Identify this.
Snippy, the new car selling app.
Absolutely well played. He's got another 75. Oh, look at that joy. He's got it right. Is the doctor as we go on to the final question in the first frontier on your screen now. It's edible nail polish. Well, a doctor should know that.
This is KFC.
Extremely well played. Extremely well played. He's got another 75. The doctor is racing away to a lead in the early part of the first frontier. But we need to take a very quick break. On the other side, I'll tell you how much Dr. Murtuza has scored. Back in just a moment. Stay with us.
एक सजेशन दूं जी
क्या जी?
अपने टाटा प्ले के साथ बिंज ऐप ले लो जी
क्यों जी?
आपके फेवरेट ओटीटी एप्स एक ऐप पे जी मतलब नो अलग अलग पेमेंट सिर्फ 1 सब्सक्रिप्शन जी और 12 एप्स के सारे कंटेंट इजी सर्च पे मतलब नो ढूंढना ओनली देखना जी
मतलब टाइम ही टाइम जी.
थोड़ा हमारे लिए भी निकाल लेना जी
अब टाटा प्ले के साथ लीजिए बिंज ऐप.
Get you to an audience question for all those of you watching this quiz. All right, let me ask you this. Badal. Badal is the name of a camel. And this camel appears in a famous ad campaign in India for a mineral water brand. Which mineral water brand hired a camel named Badal? Key in your answers into those chat boxes wherever you're watching the quiz. If you're quick and correct, you stand to win a prize. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today watching the Cluster 2 finals, which is largely from the Hyderabad region of India. And I think all our qualifiers this time are from Hyderabad. And before we move any further, let's take a look at who's on the binge, which is what we call our scorecard. Murtuza, Dr. Murtuza from Hyderabad on 225. Suvigya behind him from Pits Pilani. All of this can change and change very quickly. But for the moment, head start to Dr. Murtuza. As we move on to the second frontier of our game here today, it's time for our contestants to rely on their guts. Here it is. $75, the value of a right answer, as we're going to begin with the first one. Don't just get carried away by the visuals. Please wait for me to ask the question. More often than not, people do not take that advice of mine, but that's your call. 75, the value on the first one, in the second frontier on your screen. This is the logo of Cred. Sandeep, not listening to me, has gone for it. Yes, Sandeep.
Sorry, I thought it's just Cred's logo. And
I mean, you would credit me with more to not ask you Cred logo. Come on. Anyway, that was a misfire from, and I warned you. I mean, this is like someone telling you on 13th of February, don't give me flowers tomorrow. And you go and give it. I mean, you don't make mistakes like that. Anyway, the question that I would have asked you is, this company decided to not call themselves a fintech company. This is Cred. What did they call themselves? So that was an interesting question. The answer was Trust Tech Company. They've positioned themselves as a trust tech company and not a fintech company. Tough one, rush of blood. Sandeep will take a negative on that one, but I'm sure he'll recover that quickly. Moving on to our second question in this segment, question on your screen. Here it is. Hrithik Roshan is now associated with the Tatas. Jashwant's gone for it, and quickly. Yes, Jashwant. Jashwant.
Sir, can you repeat it? Question.
Minus 75 to you. You've lapsed your 5 seconds of time. Jashwant taking a negative on that one. I just said Hrithik Roshan endorsing a Tata brand. And well, it's a brand that represents the future, in my view. Electric vehicles from the world of Tata Motors, really pioneering India's revolution in the electric vehicle domain. And well, it's an absolute treat and a wonderful experience to be in an electric vehicle. I have one, so I'm not speaking just like that. I genuinely drive an EV, and I think the future belongs there. It's a fascinating experience. He takes a negative because he didn't hear the question and then went for it. As we go to the next one on your screens now. What is the overall connection of all of these with a very famous founder? His name, Philo. Philo, the founder. They were huge at a point in time, and then things didn't go right. But all of this was part, or is part, of a great global tech giant. Nobody on the buzzer. Sai, just in time. Yes, Sai.
Since you said it's Philo, I'm guessing it's Yahoo.
Well played. Well played, Sandeep. David Philo, well guessed on that one. That's a good one. David Philo would reach you to Yahoo, as you got that absolutely right. So Sandeep, who's contestant number 2, gets a 75 for that answer. All right, you were on minus 75. Oh, so he's gaining, losing. Well, he's got to do better than that. As we go to the next one, hands on the buzzer, question on your screen. Here it is. Huge group in the news for various reasons currently in India. Someone's going for it. It's Murtuza who's making an attempt. Yes, doctor?
Is it the Future Group?
Well played. Absolutely well played. Neilgiris, W.H. Smith, all these are names which are now part of the Future Group. Very well played. He gets another 75 on that. He's moving from strength to strength. As we have the next one coming up on your screen, your overall answer is an individual. Breakthrough Starshot Project. Travel at 55,000 kilometers per second. Dr. Murtuza.
I'm just going to go with Elon Musk.
Well, 9 out of 10 times people can make those mistakes. The answer is Mark Zuckerberg. The moment you look at space, you start looking at Elon Musk, but he takes a negative, knocks off 75 from an impressive start that he'd made. As we move to the next question, let's see what happens on this one. On your screen, something extremely precious, like Mia from Tanishq, is your answer. Here it comes. Someone's gone for it. Dr. Murtuza again. He's really fast.
Swarovski.
Very well played. Extremely well played. Dr. Murtuza getting another 75 into his kitty, quickly negating the negative that he took. On to the next one. Hands on the buzzer. Question on your screen. Here it is. Extremely important man from the world of Tatas, Dr. Murtuza.
He is the person who conducts the final round in Tata Crucible corporate quizzes. This is Harish Bhatt.
Perfectly correct.
Yes.
Perfectly correct. Dr. Murtuza has got that absolutely right. Well, it's rare for a quizmaster of a quiz to get featured in the quiz, but that's perhaps not the capacity in which we are featuring Mr. Bhatt. He is a fantastic writer, the brand custodian of the Tata Group. That's a huge, huge portfolio to manage. A remarkable marketing mind more than anything else. Well, nonetheless, 75 to you. Well, if watching Crucible or being as part of many of those finals has helped you, good for you. Moving on to our next question with Dr. Murtuza cracking Mr. Harish Bhatt. More from a Tata Crucible angle. Here is the next one coming up on your screens now. It's the first male and the first female of which profession? The first male recruit and the first female recruit of which profession? Dr. Murtuza.
Is this an air hostess or like air stewardess to the...
Sometimes in life, nothing goes wrong. Well played. Extremely well played. Oh, Suvigya also probably thinking of that answer, but not waiting, well, or rather waiting too long. In-flight attendance, but you described that perfectly, so we'll give it to you for a 75. On to the next one. He's moved on, I think, close to 500. My mental math tells me that, but I wouldn't know the exact score. We'll take a look at that as the next couple of questions are done. On to the next one on your screen now. Extremely famous lady, very important on the internet, heads something so hugely followed by the world. She's a famous lady. Yashwant has gone for it. Yes, Yashwant. Yeah. All right, he's taking too much of time on that one. Minus 75, Yashwant. When you hit the buzzer, you are indicating you know the answer. Well past the 5-second mark. My clock here shows actually 9 seconds. So it's a lot of time to take a minus 75 to him. Susan from the world of YouTube. Susan Wojcicki on your screen there. And she was, of course, or is CEO of YouTube. As we go to the next one. On your screens, question number 10 in this segment. So you've got 2 more after this. Here it comes. This is a famous award which recognizes innovation and creative excellence in advertising, design, and communication. It's judged by an international panel of advertising professionals. Which famous award is this? 4 letters for an answer. Murtuza is giving it a shot. Go ahead.
Is this the Clio Awards? CLIO. Clio Advertising Awards.
Well played. Nothing really going wrong for the doctor. Very well played. He's getting another 75 there, and he's moved, I think, past the 500 mark. As we go to the next one on your screens, penultimate question in this frontier. Here it is. Which site would you associate Dr. Murtuza again? Yes.
Is this Snapchat?
Oh, fantastic.
Ghostface Killer, yes.
Ghostface Killer, absolutely perfect. Oh, the doctor is really taking this race away from the others. Well, he's a doctor, but he's an outstanding quizzer. He's won many titles, so it's not going to be easy to dislodge him. Certainly not at Hyderabad. As we go on to the next question, the last one in this frontier, on your screens now. This person, Sai Sandeep, has gone for it, stopping me quickly there. Yes, Sandeep.
This is Mr. Eugene Schuler, the founder of the L'Oreal Group.
Fantastic answer. Superb. He knew everything and knew it perfectly. The creator of L'Oreal, Eugene Schuler, beautifully answered. the man who gave the world synthetic hair dye, and then, of course, the rest, as they say, is history. For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, you've got one doctor in a hurry, perhaps to get back to his patients, and the others will really have to play out of their skin to catch up with him. But we'll tell you how far he's gone on the other side of this very quick break. Stay with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, this battle seems to be going in one direction. Dr. Murtuza on fire as we complete 2 segments of this final from Cluster 2. But let me ask you a couple of audience questions before we go back and see if anyone can really challenge Dr. Murtuza. The second place seems to be becoming important, but I'll show you all that on the other side when we come back. But here are a couple of audience questions. All you got to do is to key into those chat boxes quickly and you could win a prize. Here's the first one. RJ, as in Romain Jerome, created a Gem Nation watch, which essentially was manufactured with dust from where? It contained dust from somewhere. Romain Jerome, well, iconic brand. Gem Nation watches with dust from where? Tough question for the audience. Key in your answers. And here is my next question to you. If you walk into a footwear store, well, most occasions you are measuring the length of your foot. What is the name of that device on which you keep your leg to check the size of your foot? What is the name of that device which tells you the size of your foot? It's a product. Well, key in your answers and you stand to win a prize. Time for us to get back to this final as we pick action on the final frontier at Tata Crucible Cluster 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're with me, Pig Brain, here today watching a remarkable Hyderabad final, or a remarkable final from Cluster 2, because all our 6 contestants are college students from Hyderabad. We'll take a look at who's having a real ball today, or in our language, who's on a binge today. And this is quite a binge. On 600 is Dr. Murtuza from Hyderabad. He is really taking this battle way beyond the others. Sandeep is on 75, Suvigya is on 75, Mayank has an outer chance. Yashwant and Jashwant will have to get out of that position quickly, because I just get a feeling the battle clearly is for the second spot. So Dr. Murtuza seems like he is well home with 600, with all the others nowhere close to him. 6 questions remaining in this quiz. So arithmetically, he can't really lose from here. Of course, he can go on to create a record score if he wants to, because we're still on cluster number 2, so he can set targets for others to chase. But he's certainly into the nation's top 24, with the others not scoring equally enough, and he's on 600. But the second place becomes an interesting battle for the remaining people. For all you know, Dr. Murtuza will say, all right, guys, you fight for the remaining money. I've got the big one. Well, as we move on to the final frontier of our game here today, quite literally for all those other than Murtuza, time to go for glory. Here it comes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as our contestants will go for glory, it is our time to celebrate the glory, the history, and the heritage of India. 75 years of Indian independence. We here at Tata Crucible salute Indian business enterprise as we celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. India is not just about its people, its leaders, its politics, its culture, its art. It's also about how the business ethos of India and the business frontiers of India were built. Great people, great contributors to the economy of this nation, our way of saluting them through our questions. The remaining 6 questions are all related to India and business in India. If you are ready, 75 remains the value as we pick action on the first one, celebrating 75 years of Indian independence. On your screen, here's the first question now. This was an Environment Day advertisement by a delivery app which took itself to become a very conscious environment player, so much so that they're trying to switch to a lot of electric vehicles to deliver to our homes. Don't just eat your greens, plant them too. It's a famous, well, food supplier in India today. Not just food, but well. Nobody on the buzzer, time lapsing on that one, tough one. These are the disruptors of India in the last 75 years. Everyone's going to kick themselves when I give the answer. The answer, Swiggy. Swiggy celebrating India in a different form and Indian environment. The second question on your screen, here it is. Trying to remap the education space in India, Ronnie Screwwala, Yashwant's gone for it. Yes, Yashwant.
It's upgrade.
Well played. Well played. He needed that 75 to get back there. He just needs one more answer to get square with Sandeep and Suvigya. As we go to the third one, on your screens, here it is. It's a huge group in India which is always focused with its CSR on the girl child. Nanhi Kali has been a very important initiative from this respected Indian group. Who are we referring to? 75 if you get this group right. Nobody on the buzzer. 5 seconds of time lapsing. Well, CSR has been a very important ingredient. Of course, the Tatas probably take the lead in by miles when it comes to social responsibility. But not too far behind is the Mahindra group, which particularly takes care of the girl child in our country. A very respected entity. As we go on to the fourth question here, the battle for the second place is getting nervous as we are closing in with the last 3 questions coming up. On to the next one on your screen now. This gentleman heads a very important organization in India, which recently launched a campaign called From One Woman Entrepreneur to Another to promote woman entrepreneurship. He is the head of a very important government initiative. Dr. Murtuza.
Niti Ayog.
Well played. Very well played. Very, very well played. Mr. Kant on your screen, and that will give you another 75. So Murtuza certainly moving from his unassailable score to an even more competent platform. As we go to the final 2 questions, it's going to be really nervous because if Mayank or Yashwant get one right, they're going to put a lot of pressure on Suvigya and Sandeep. 2 questions to go. Penultimate one on your screen now. It was a contribution made by a 9-year-old Indian child. What was special about this contribution? My India Full of Life. It was a first from India. What first did a 9-year-old create? All right, nobody on the buzzer. 5 seconds going on that one. It's going to be a nervous last question according to me. The answer, well, too late on that, Jashwant. The answer is the first ever Google Doodle from India. A 9-year-old kid created that and won the contest. It was a huge contest. I think it was called Doodle for Google contest, if my memory is right. One final question. Yashwant, Sandeep, Mayank, Suvigya all have a chance. 2 of them to draw level. Between Sandeep and Suvigya, if one of them get it right, they'll win the second place. Final question on your screen. Who is the author of this phenomenal book? For the Love of India, the Life and Times of Jamshedji Tata. Sandeep is giving it a shot. If he gets it right from the world of Tatas, he's going to win this.
That's Mr. M. Lala.
R.M. Lala.
R.M.
Give it,
Lala, yeah.
give it to you on that. He gets that absolutely right. So Sandeep, helped by the great Doyen, R.M. Lala will be the runner-up because that takes him, I think, to 150. We'll take a look at the final scores and see who's really been binging. Well, the big binger today has, of course, been Dr. Murtuza. As this final scorecard comes up, there you are. On 675, Dr. Murtuza has done what he's done many times at a Tata Crucible. Well, as probably the pressures of being a postgraduate in medicine catches up with him, he surprised himself with some answers which would have been perhaps easy meat for him, maybe 5 years younger. And the others really bracing up to an experienced quizzer who really went on his repository of knowledge and took the cake today in style. On 150, a young challenger, Sandeep, from EFLU Hyderabad, wins the runner-up title here today. Not bad at all for all of you to be part of a final like this. Never easy to qualify to a level like this, given the lakhs and lakhs of people who now take part. For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed my pleasure and privilege to welcome as our digital chief guest here today, as this quiz continues in its digital avatar, the hotel manager from the Gateway Hotel at Visakhapatnam, a fantastic property where invariably when we've done the corporate edition, we've always gone to their beautiful, beautiful hotel and enjoyed Vizag from that exquisitely designed hotel. Someone who's been part of the hospitality industry for many years, from Kerala to Vizag. He seems to have all the nice locations under him, as he has also led the property at Vizag to a lot of growth even during the lockdown. And Taj is, of course, now well documented for the innovation they did during COVID as a hospitality industry. But it's indeed our pleasure and privilege to have with us Mr. Gopalakrishnan. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Gopalakrishnan. Pleasure to have you with us. I'll come straight to you. How does it feel having crossed the difficult path and now back to probably, the normal kind of business that you all are used to?
Good evening, all. It was a wonderful session, last 30 minutes. You were all given your brilliant show. Yes, pandemic was there for last 2 years. It was very difficult time for us in hospitality. It was challenging times where we have gone through, and we are in reviving mode now. And it's a very good learning for us in the past 2 years.
Well, in fact, I must state earlier, Mr. Gopalakrishnan was also in Calicut, and Tata Crucible went to Calicut because we had a gateway there. And for the same reason, we went to Vizag. Truly wonderful to have you. Thank you so much. Wish you all the very best for better times. And we, of course, look forward to being back at the Taj with Tata Crucible, which is so synonymous with the Taj. We'll just ask you to just stand by there as you will do the honors digitally. Finishing runner-up here today, Sai Sandeep from EFLU Hyderabad. And here's your digital celebration. He wins 18,000 rupees as the runner-up of this quiz. And ladies and gentlemen, yet again, still in touch. It's almost like a vintage campus quizzer, so to say. And from his UG days to PG days, Dr. Murtuza from Hyderabad into the nation's top 24. Congratulations, Doctor. 35,000 to him. Played it remarkably and played it with a lot of speed. Well, congratulations as he moves in. And to our guest, thank you so much, Mr. Gopalakrishnan, for joining us. Truly, truly appreciate your time and for being with us here today.
Thank you for everything. And all the best for all the participants, and advance congratulations for the next contestants. Thank you.
Well said. Thank you so much, Mr. Gopalakrishnan. We'll let you go. If I have any retakes, I'll do that. But we'll not hold you back. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Fine.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that remarkable final from Cluster 2. Dr. Murtuza in style, sweeping the cluster with 675. Well, that is really what you call binging in a quiz competition. Absolutely brilliant. We will be back with you with the next cluster. But till then, for all of you, do stay safe. Continue to stay safe till we come back to you with all the entertainment and the fun from the third cluster of Tata Crucible for campuses. From me and my young colleague, Rashmi Furtado, thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.